Nicole Buck and Brandon Delaney are suing Paul Harvey, the defendant, for unreturned property and harassment. The defendant is countersuing the plaintiffs for unpaid rent, the cost of a rifle, and emotional distress. Now, according to your statements, Nicole, you used to date the defendant. Yes. And the defendant was, Brandon, a good friend of yours. And Nicole, you outright admit that you had an affair with Brandon behind the defendant's back. Is that correct? All right. Now, Paul, they claim that when you found out about the affair, that you were upset and you threatened to take your own life or take their lives. Is that correct?
That is correct. I did say that.
Now, not only do you say that he threatened your lives, but that he did it on the phone. I think we have a copy of that. I'd like to listen to that now.
You can have me come over right now, or I can come over later. What Brandon says. And we can work this out.
What are we working out?
Someone's dying tonight.
What? Why do I have to leave?
Because, Nicole. Because you're going to take Brandon with you.
Okay, but why do I have to leave?
Because I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to make you watch. I will tear him piece by piece apart.
Why would you make a statement like that?
Because I was incredibly upset, Your Honor.
Why were you incredibly upset?
Nicole and I had been together for 3 years, and we had known each other for 5. We were actually even engaged and planning on getting married.
How old were you when you met Nicole?
I was 15.
And how old were you when you threatened to kill?
This was only a couple months ago, so I would have been
How
19.
old?
19, Your Honor.
Is there anything inside of you that told you that that was criminal?
No, I didn't realize that it was criminal. I knew that it was afterwards.
You're lucky the police didn't show up and arrest you for that statement. You know that.
Yes, I do know that.
You're an adult. You're 19 years old when you make that statement. You do not threaten to kill someone unless you want the police to show up in SWAT gear and everything else and take you out. Do you understand the seriousness of that?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right. Nicole, what is this about? You meet Brandon, his friend, and you have an affair with him behind his back?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. At least she's honest. All right. What happened?
Me and Paul had been dating for 3 years, and through that we went through a lot of stuff. And by the end of the relationship, I was actually planning on breaking up with him before I met Brandon. I just was so comfortable with this, with the relationship, that I was too scared to move on.
No.
I was afraid.
You can't use that in the same sentence and say, because I was so comfortable, I was scared to move on. If you're comfortable, you're not scared. You know? I mean, no. I was so comfortable that it was in my interest to stay because it was easy, but then to move on with someone else, which is what you did. And then you get this guy out of his mind, apparently, because he had affection for you. Were you two living together at the time?
Yes.
All right. Did you move in together with the intention of marrying?
No.
Okay. Is this your first girlfriend, Paul?
Not my first girlfriend, but the first girlfriend that I've ever felt this way about. Yes, Your Honor.
You loved her?
Very much, and I still do.
And you still do?
Yes.
You know, Paul, I mean, I'm very angry with you because I prosecuted people for years who threatened to kill other people. It sends them into a tizzy, and I haven't even gotten to the bottom of it. But at the same time, I sense a great deal of pain and disappointment. And you've got to understand that in life, Paul, you're going to have a lot of disappointments, and you can't react with anger and threats to kill, because this is already a matter of record. You're a good-looking guy. I assume you're a bright guy. Step out, step it up, and find another girl. You don't let someone ruin your life. You're still in love with her? Get over it, okay? She's not in love with you, and right now she doesn't deserve you. All right? She's with the other guy. That's the end of it. Everybody plays the fool, all right? There's a song. We all play the fool, all right? And what you've got to do is figure out how you're going to move on, all right? When you walk out of this courtroom, you're going like this, all right? You with me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now. So what happens, Nicole?
What happened, Your Honor, is that we had a trip planned to my hometown one weekend. It was going to be Paul, Nicole, and I. And Paul pulled out, so Nicole and I went down. And during the weekend, we kissed, we came back. Nicole and I did feel guilty about it. That night, she wanted to talk to Paul about it to see if things would work out. But I got a call a couple hours after she left my apartment saying that her and Paul broke up and that she needed a place to stay for the moment.
So you break up with Paul when, Nicole?
I broke up with Paul on March 28th.
March 28th. Okay, and so that's after the weekend trip.
Yes.
Okay, good. So how does Paul react to your breaking up with him?
He was very upset about it. He begged me not to go. I told him that my feelings had kind of went away for him over some time and that I wanted to do something for I wanted to make myself happy because I realized being in the relationship wasn't making me happy.
Okay.
Your Honor, at that point, that weekend was not the first time that they had kissed. Nicole openly admitted to me at a later date that they had been fooling around for a couple weeks prior to breaking up with me. In addition to that, I did not back out of the trip. I wanted to go with them. Nicole actually convinced me not to go because I needed to work.
She breaks up with you after the weekend trip. What happens after that?
She actually took a shower at the house, and we had relations that night.
You had sex with him that night after the
Yes.
weekend trip?
And
I
then-
had sex with him because he pressured me into having sex with him. He told me,
He pressured you into having sex with him?
he had me on the bed and he was on top of me saying, begging me to have sex with him. He told me he would leave me alone and he wouldn't bother me anymore. I felt really bad. And I wanted him to just stop.
Okay. So you break up with him after the road trip and then you have sex with him because of your guilt trip? Is that what you're saying here? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But I want you to be careful of one thing, Nicole. When you say a guy pressures you, you're a woman, okay? And you're a woman who's claiming he pressured you to have sex. All right, my antennas go up, and you've got to understand when you use that word, a prosecutor immediately thinks rape. Do not use that word lightly. You can say he persuaded me to have sex, but when you say pressured me, I'm thinking rape, and you're not making a claim of rape. Did you say no?
No.
Precisely. All right? Be careful. Be careful of that. What about, is there a restraining order here?
Not anymore. There
You
was.
got it?
Yes.
Against him?
Yes.
For what?
For the threats that he was making on the video there. That video was just a clip of 30 minutes of him making death threats, saying to Nicole that he hopes that she goes to hell and burns in hell.
I have a statement here that says, I gave her 3 options. Your statement.
Yes, Your Honor. That's in regard to the
She and
video.
Brandon could leave the state, I could kill myself, or I could kill Brandon. What is this, the high noon in the Wild West? Are you out of your mind?
No, Your Honor, I was very upset at the
You
time. and I
are
did-
very egocentric to think that because 2 people fell in love that you should kill them or kill yourself.
Your Honor, I was actually particularly upset
I
about
know
the
you were
killing-
upset.
No,
We
no,
went
she
through
had
that, and
actually-
I'm not-
She had actually previously told me that she wanted me to kill myself.
She wanted you to kill
Yes,
yourself.
and she had also previously told me that she intended to leave the state because she couldn't take it here anymore.
Let me ask you a question. Did you try to get her to buy you a gun? You're suing her for a gun?
Your Honor, yes, that's what the promissory note is listed. But
What promissory note?
I actually
Hand
have
it up.
that.
Now, Nicole, what are the circumstances of the promissory note?
Well, when we were dating, he asked if we could one day, if I could get him an M14 or an M1A1, whichever.
After you were dating?
When we were dating.
When you were
When
dating?
we were dating, he asked for that. And he requested that he could take out money out of his paychecks.
No. This says, I, Nicole Buck, will return to live with Paul Harvey for 1 week starting 4/11 and ending 4/18. I also will purchase an M14. Now, the weekend was the end of March. This is 4/11 to 4/18. This is after he threatened to kill you. You're going to agree to buy him an M14? Why did you want an M14?
Your Honor, I no longer want
Why
one in
did you
particular.
want an M14? Answer my question.
Previously? Well, I do like guns, but that was not what I wanted. I did not want
That's all I
one.
wanted to hear. Now, your statement, Nicole, you say that at one point you took a pregnancy test. What's this about?
He wanted me to take a pregnancy test, and this was after he found out me and Brandon were having sex, because previously he had requested that we didn't.
What do you care?
No, because up to that point, she had still said that she wasn't, and so I wanted to make sure that if she did,
What's
for
the
some
pregnancy
reason...
test going to prove? That she's pregnant, not who she had sex with.
I know,
What
Your
are you
Honor,
going to do, send the test to the FBI forensic lab?
No, I wanted to make sure that she did not have a child of mine and wouldn't lie to me about it because I was afraid at that point.
You know what? You're far too into this. I keep telling you, I said at the beginning of this case, move on. Now, what's this thing with the, you say that he forced you to stay with him?
He said that if I spent time with him, that it could give him that last week of being with me, and then he'd be able to move on.
Okay.
After being there for a few hours, I felt very uncomfortable being around him, and I tried to leave, but he kept trying to block the door from me leaving.
He wouldn't let you leave?
Mm-mm.
Your Honor,
Do
that's
you refer
incorrect.
to this as being held hostage?
Yes.
Did you go to the court and get an order because he's holding you hostage, pressuring you to have sex?
I did try to get a restraining order, but I was told I got denied.
You got denied?
I got denied because
Was this after the hostage situation? When did you try to get a restraining order?
After the hostage situation, I tried to get a restraining order, and they told me they couldn't because he hadn't physically threatened my life.
You were there because of guilt. You played the two of them like a ping pong ball. He told you to come back, so you went back. You have sex with him, you have sex with him. Do you understand, Nicole, what you do when you play with people's emotions? People go crazy sometimes. And I'm not saying that you don't have the right to be with Brandon. I hope you're happy. That's not what I'm saying. But you got to draw a line and live with it. All right, now, you're suing him for emotional distress. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, unreturned property, a couch, a bed, a washer and dryer. You have a couch, bed, and washer and dryer?
Yes, Your Honor, and I was actually told that she did not want the couch, and the washer and dryer I was told would stay out the house until we moved out, and that was from her parents. And then,
So you think her parents want you to have the washer and dryer when you threatened to kill her and her boyfriend, or yourself? Come on. Now, you're suing her for unpaid rent for April, May, and June.
Your Honor, I've already paid her portion because the landlord told me that we would get evicted if it didn't get paid, so I paid for part of her portion of April. She still owes me $125 for that, and I've paid for her portion of May and June already.
All right, good. Now, you want the rifle, $1,500 for the rifle.
I'd like to use it to go to school. Like I said, Your Honor,
The rifle. You're going to shoot your way in? I don't understand. What do you mean?
No, Your Honor. She was supposed to give me $1,500. The promissory note was still under the pretense because she didn't know that I was saving for a down payment on a house.
So
and
why
I'd now
not
like to
ask
go
her
to
for the
school.
cash? Why are you asking her for an M14?
I misworded it, Your Honor. It was supposed to... No, Your
Why didn't
Your
you
Honor,
ask for a pair of shoes? What do you mean you misworded
Well,
it?
I was supposed to say that she would give me the money for it because I didn't want her to know what it was for.
All right, you want to charge him with harassment or file $2,800 for harassment? Why, Nicole?
Because I have been very stressed out in the last few months.
I have a tip for you. You can't get involved emotionally with two guys and then blame one for the stress. You brought it on yourself. Had you been honest, had you been clear, this wouldn't affect you. And what you're involved in isn't different. It's no different than anyone else. It's the way you dealt with it that was different. Put him over the edge, and I'm not giving you an excuse. You did it.
I'm sorry,
I would have
Your Honor.
arrested you if I were the DA. End of the story. Now, with respect to the rifle or the $1,500 for the rifle, she claims that she was under duress at the time and that she would have signed anything to get out. I truly believe that, and I'm not going to give you money for that, whether it's $1,500 or a rifle or anything else. I'm not going to reward you for that. Anything having to do with a gun doesn't get rewarded in this courtroom. Now, the emotional stress, $2,600 against her. You know what? In life, you're going to be stressed out a lot. You get nothing. Now, you say that she owes you $875 for rent, but in going through the evidence here, which I think is very interesting, at some point, did you take the key off her keychain?
I asked for it after she had been gone for about a week because I was afraid of her
Was that
taking
in
stuff.
April, after the road trip?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So here's the deal. You took the keychain off, the key off the keychain. You constructively evicted her. So my order for you is $125. My order for you, for the plaintiffs, is the $2,200 for the property. But you're not getting the money. My court clerk will oversee the transfer of property within the next week by the defendant. If not, then you're going to get $2,200 for the unreturned property. Be clear on your emotions. So ordered. That's the end.